Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Max's shop. Max, say hi. And he is going to be helping me do two things. They're going to be two separate videos because I want to be able to at least show different portions of whatever. So, doing two things that I've never done before. They're not difficult to do, but I've never done them. One is I've never had to do pads and rotors on any car that I've had. I've always gotten them when I've bought them with new pads and rotors. They just come that way. And I've gotten rid of them before I've needed a new set. So this is my first time doing it. It's not hard, but I'm going to learn how to do it today. And what I'm going to show you soon is we're going to do the AXEL first, right? Did you want to do the AXEL? We're going to do the AXEL first. We're going to take the rotor off anyway. So when I do the other video of the actual pads and rotors, you'll see us take the whole thing apart on the other side. But I'm going to do the AXEL video first. Because if we take the rotor off, it's already going to be there. It's just easier to get in and out of. Now, the thing with the AXEL is, and what I'll explain and show later, is the wastegate tube comes down and dumps right, technically in front, or however way you want to look at it, dumps right next to the AXEL boot. And it is just toasted the boot off. It lasted for a while. When I first put the wastegate in, I was like, that looks like something that's probably going to be a problem down the line. And I would check it every time I did an oil change, which I do an oil change like every 3,000 miles. It wasn't really having any issues. When I went under there in the spring, it was toasted off. So I'm interested to see how much worse it's gotten since then. I haven't driven it as much over the past few months. I've been driving it, because I take the Del Sol most of the time. And I've just been gentle on it anyway, and it's been fine. It wasn't something to worry about. But I am curious to see how it looks, and I am curious to see how much longer this one holds up, because I need to find a solution so it doesn't keep happening. But again, it made it at least a year, so it's got to be able to hold it somewhat. But we're gonna get in there in a second, and I'll keep you in the loop. Now, in case you guys didn't know, I hate working on this thing when it's on the ground, because it looks like this, and there's just something about it that's terrifying to look at, because it's just so leaned over, and it's such a hefty looking girl. Wow, it's dusty in here, Max. Thanks. Trying to clean the floor, it's all dusty. All right, so I'm gonna take the wheel off right now. I think most of you know how to do that, so if you don't, there's a video out there for it, I'm sure. Now, I wasn't gonna tell anybody for a while because I wanted to keep this kind of quiet, but I've decided I think I'm gonna upgrade the turbo on the Subaru. Somebody just left this big turbo in the shop, and I think I'm gonna put it on my car. Just kidding, it's going on this. Pierce is putting it on the Camaro. He decided the Pro Charger wasn't enough, so he's gonna put a turbo on it now. And I'm interested to see how that turns out in the long run, so maybe we'll get a ride in that one of these days if Pierce wants to take us out. All right, back to work on the Subaru. It's being a pain in the butt, but we got the caliper off for now. Well, we're taking the caliper off now. I got all the rest of it. Max is trying to figure out how to get this wastegate situated, because I'll show you guys in a couple of seconds how bad it is right now. But let me just get the caliper off and the rotor off, and we'll go from there. All right, so like everything else, nothing goes as planned. But we are taking the caliper off, and it is a pain in the butt because it was still clamped down, because these pads and rotors all have about 50K on them, so there's a little bit of a lip here, so it was we were having trouble getting the caliper off, and the pads then didn't want to come out of the caliper, so we had that to deal with. So we still are just finishing this up right now. I got to get this rotor off, and to give you a quick idea, whoops, this is the outer pad. So if you can see that, there's a little bit of a lip here where we still had a little bit of life left. This is the inner pad. Yeah, there's really nothing there. So glad that I'm replacing these now. The backs I did in the spring. And yeah, so I had my buddy Chris actually help me with the ones in the back because he has a shop. So he did those for me, which was nice. So now I'm learning how to do the fronts. And we're going to do the AXEL in a second. I do still want to get under there and show how this all is coming together. It's just we've been running into a couple issues because these brakes are so old that they're just giving us problems coming off. So we're going to get in there in a second and get these all set. Now, if you have any plans on saving a rotor when you're taking it off, don't do what we're about to do. use a rubber mallet. But because I have new rotors, you can just go ahead and bang those off.
It doesn't want to come. These aren't. I thought these would be retainer pins, but they're not. It's just really rusted on there, I think. God damn.
Max loves his brake clean.
All the lube. You need all the lube for everything.
Oh, you do. 100%.
Damn. Good for reuse.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I hate your car.
Me too. All right, I missed it because I'm a horrible YouTuber, but we got it off. I just kept handing Max bigger hammers until we got it off. And Clarkson was right. The bigger the hammer, the quicker it comes off. So now that the rotor is officially off, do you recommend we do the axle first or do the rest of the rotor?
You can do the axle.
Want to do the axle?
Yeah, we'll move the caliper, tie it up over there, and do the axle.
All right, let me get under there so I can show these jabronis what what a wastegate can do to your axle. So here is my large downpipe, and if you follow it over there, you see that little hole, that little dump tube? That is the wastegate, and it dumps out right behind the boot of the axle. So you can see that it's basically toasted it right off of there. Now, we got some fluid, some grease sprayed around, but it's okay. So we're going to take the axle out, put a fresh OEM Subaru one in. Thank you to Steve for getting that for me. And yeah, now we're going to toss that in, and then we should be good from there on out. But I got to figure out a way to reroute that pipe a little bit so it's not getting as hot next to the boot, because I know that's 100% the issue. I know it shoots raw fuel out of there, but I think it's actually just from the heat of the downpipe that caused that boot to actually eventually fly off. So something I'm going to have to try to fix down the line, but for now, as long as I have a new axle in there, I think we're pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that off now, and we will catch up with you in a minute.
Someone was having a bad day at the factory in Japan. Torqued everything down to me.
No.
Need a smaller diameter hammer here.
You mean we don't just need massive hammers now? So to fix everything earlier.
I think we need a smaller hammer.
Yes.
Here, this will do it. I don't like hammering on this stuff. You didn't really have to.
Who's moving?
I don't know. Fuck is, I hate this car so much.
Yep. Want one? Want to buy one?
No. Yeah. Fucking bitch. Can you hold this that way?
Should we pull? Can you pull it out the other side?
Not enough. Oh, fuck.
That just make it worse.
Now it doesn't want to go back in. Yeah, now it doesn't want to go back in. Now we're like totally fucked. Good job.
Thank you, Steve. All right, so these are out. This took way too long to get out. This took a good hour and a half.
We had to disconnect the tie rod.
We had to disconnect the tie rod. We had to disconnect. We nearly had to disconnect the ball joint at this point, but it wouldn't come out. So then finally gave it a little bit of a hammer hit, and it popped out. But this is what it looks like when you let your wastegate get the best of you. Yep. So not dealing with that anymore. I'm tired of that thing. So this one you just pop back in, right? That's what we're supposed to do. Okay.
The other one, opposite of.
How do we know it's going to slide in properly and seat right?
You'll be able to put it back in the hub.
Oh, okay, good.
Going like the last inch. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. I think that just did it.
That sounded better.
Yeah.
Careful with that thing. You'll cut your finger open like I did.
Yeah, I don't want it to slide out either. Let me just double check. Yeah, she's in.
All right, I made an executive decision. You're getting both videos in one thing. I'm not filming two. Can't do it. Don't have it in me. We have been at this for I don't know how long, and finally get the axle out. I couldn't even film it. Well, actually, I'll get a little bit of it on camera probably, but it's like it was a pain in the neck to get out, and we're just going to focus on getting the other pad done or the other brakes done for the driver's side because it's getting late, and honestly, I don't want to like just bore you with two videos that don't really make any sense. So we'll give you one video of the whole thing. I think that's fair. I think that's a good idea. So Max is finding out how to press the pads into the caliper. And we have the heat shield back on. We finally did get the axle in. That was a pain. If you do ever do this on your own Subaru, you have to there's plenty of instructions out there, so I don't want to just reiterate what everybody else has already said. You got to take basically the entire front apart. You have to take the rotor off. You have to take the brake caliper off. You don't have to obviously take the pads out, but you got to take all that stuff apart to get the axle out. Whereas a lot of cars, you just have to take the axle out and you're all set. So unfortunately, that's not how this works. So little tip for you there. And we are going to wrap this up over here, and I am going to help him get this done because, like I said, it's getting kind of late. Andy boy's getting hungry, and he wants to eat some food. So, yeah, let's get a roll on this. Let's get it done. All right, I'm gonna sell the car because I was going to do the other side here, and the bottom bolt that connects to the hub was giving me some issue coming off. Had the breaker bar on it, wasn't really breaking loose. I was like, all right. Turned the caliper here a little bit and the rotor so that we could have the breaker bar stick out this way and have it be longer. Basically, heard a crack and thought it might have just broken loose, but instead the bolt snapped. So the top one is fine. That one has to be retightened because I don't have the proper tools to get everything off and actually drill that bolt out. So Will, who you guys have seen before, I got to drop it off to his shop, and he's going to have to work some magic with it. There's a part I got to order. I forget what it's called, so I'll do like an update and let you guys know what it is. What? A tap. No, it's not a tap. It's a time. What? Extractor. Yeah, I guess so. It extracts it. It's going to pull the bolt out. Hopefully everything goes smoothly with it. I'll drop it off. He's going to do it and get it done. But the good news is the axle is done and the other side of the brakes are done. I was hoping it would go more smoothly than this, but it didn't. So now I just got to figure it out and get this done because I actually have a little, geez, it's like almost welded on there. You see that? It's like, look at that. Got a big trip coming up, so got to get this done within like next week so that I can get on that trip and take it for the drive. It's because we're going to be doing the Avant-tober that goes through New Hampshire and Vermont and all the way up. So, all right, that's pretty much it for today. I hope the video was enjoyable. It gave me some problems, so I'm hoping, like I said, I'm just hoping to get this thing fixed and get this thing done because I wanted the car to just be back to where it needs to be. It's needed brakes for a while. They were finally going to get done, so it's a little frustrating, but it'll get fixed and we'll be all set. So I will catch you in the next video. Honda next week, modifications, be there. And Pierce is, hi Pierce.
Like, comment, subscribe, sub my YouTube, please.
He's right.
You heard the man.
Scooch out.